Hi, hello and welcome. My name is the Alpha Female and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Whoa! G'day, mateys. Bushwhacker Luke here, 2015 Hall of Famer, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Yeah! Whoa!
This is pro wrestling's only modern-day Viking Gunner, and you're on Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Nick Magnus-Solis, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hi, this is Leva Blue Pants Bates, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Jeff Jarrett, the king of the mountain and founder of Global Force Wrestling, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Hey, fellas, you guys have a great day, and this is only because I'm talking to Canadians. It is actually spitting snow in Tennessee.
See? Oh my God!
That's a great. We've had 70-degree weather here. We've really had a warm December, and I get on the phone with damn Canadians, and we're spitting snow. So.
Coming to you live from deep within inside the Wrestle House. My name is Karl Karufel, and welcome to this live edition of Turnbuckle Talk, coming to you on twitch.tv/Turnbuckle Studios, at facebook.com @TBTalkPod, as well as YouTube. And you can search up Turnbuckle Studios there as well. We're talking Twitter divided and a number of other topics here today. And we're going to get right into things, not only with myself this week, but with my good friends, Bobby Munson and Ed Fries. I'm going to start with Bobby because you're right over there to me. Bobby, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm doing excellent. You know what? It's an honor to be able to join you here on Turnbuckle Talk this week. I've been wanting to do so for a long time. The opportunity came up, and here we are, and I couldn't be happier to not only be joining yourself, but Mr. Ed Fries down below us there, too. What a great panel we got.
Ed has been on the show previously before. This is an absolute fantastic honor to have both of you here because I very much so respect both of you, and the ideas that you guys have within the world of professional wrestling is absolutely fantastic. Another guy that I have respect for, Mr. Chris Parrish, coming in there. What up, people? Parrish, we are doing good, my friend. Thank you for coming by.
Speaking of what he's got going on tonight after this, a little bit of taking over on the Chris Parrish over at Twitch TV as well, too.
With Astrid.
Yes.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Astrid is one of those people. If you guys don't know who Astrid Pizarro is, you need to find her and follow everything that she's doing. She just tweeted out that she has done another article for, what is it, WW Talk, Women's Wrestling Talk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolute fantastic stuff that she does over there as well. So not only are we able to see Astrid on screen and hear her wonderful voice, but we also get to read the creative mind that she has. Dude, really? We're surrounded by amazing freaking people. That's what I gotta say. Yeah. Just surrounded. Apparently, Triple H is surrounding things as well. Now,
and do tell.
In
I hadn't heard.
In a little bit of a different way, we've got Pretty Kitten coming in here as well. Thank you so much for coming in. I know who you are, where you are, and what you're doing right now, and thank you for coming by. Triple H apparently may have some people doing some poaching within the world of professional wrestling. So now we've seen Triple H as he's come into this new era of the WWE, hiring back stars that have previously left the company. So there is rumor out there that Triple H has been kind of in talks with other stars and saying, hey, listen, I want you to be my insider. I want you to be my go-to guy. I want you to go and start putting the bug in other people's ears. And here's a list of people inside of these companies. Now, again, This is all speculation and all rumor at this time. Mel Ball, love you, girl. Thank you for coming by. This has been something that has been really blowing up on the interwebs right now, and it's got a lot of people talking. And what better place to do it than Turnbuckle Talk to talk about this? So I'm going to start with Ed, because I know you've got views and opinions on this. What do you think of these rumors? Do they hold any value? And what is your overall take on Triple H possibly poaching from other companies?
I think he has people that are loyal to him that work in other places. Do I think he's actively asking them to send talent to him who are under contract? No. Do I have a feeling there are people there that are being like, hey, I heard your contract's running out. You might want to go talk to this guy. He's got he knows what he's doing. I can vouch for him. Because the thing we always hear about WWE is people are saying, oh, I don't want to go work for Vince. But remember, that WWE is where all of these people watched wrestling growing up. We're still in the era of the kids who grew up watching WCW and WWE. Yep. We're still in that era. We haven't quite gotten to the era of the kids who grew up on indie wrestling. We're drastically getting close. But that era hasn't happened yet. So WWE is still the goal. And with somebody behind the helm whom people can trust is something that people will be steering people towards.
And behind that helm is Helmsley himself. Bobby, what's your take on this?
Well, as always, I mean, rumors are rumors. You always have to take them with a grain of salt, but they always derive from something. And obviously, there's something out there that is occurring. And I mean, it can clearly be seen in all these people that weren't necessarily signed to any long-term contracts or anything like that are coming back. It almost gives the feeling like Triple H had these guys in mind already, these guys and gals, I should say. He had them in mind already. He was putting out the messages to them, look, it's only a matter of time before I take control of this thing. Please, please, please don't sign anything long-term that's going to keep you away, because I want to bring you back. I want to make you the stars you deserve to be within this company. And he's done just that. And now he keeps teasing with all these little things like there's a lot of people I'm looking at bringing in that people aren't even talking about. And to me, that it just creates this excitement as a fan. And I think that's what he's doing more than anything. Whether there's truth to the matter that he's sending out feelers to other companies, whether he's trying to actually poach anybody from other companies and stuff like that. Again, it makes us excited because when you turn on Raw, you turn on SmackDown, you turn on NXT or the pay-per-views or premium live events, as they now like to be called.
Right.
You sit there and you go, what could happen? And that's what always made WWE/WWF exciting back in the 90s, the 2000s, and predating that as well, too, was I don't know what I'm going to get myself into next week. I get a cliffhanger. I got to tune into the next show to find out what happened. And now Triple H is giving that back to wrestling fans. He's given us something that doesn't insult our intelligence, and we want to keep searching for more.
Awesome.
And the other thing is,
points.
I was going to say, Triple H has figured out viral marketing. And no, that's a topic we're going. I'm going to brief on it because we're not going to. But like, think about it. He's doing things that people are literally doing his job for him.
Yes.
He's like, I'm going to turn the lights off and play a song during a commercial break.
Yeah.
Not on TV, not on social media.
No.
I'm going to do something during a television break at the live arena. I'm going to do things at live events. I'm going to do things with nobody in the building.
Right?
Just viral marketing. Let them do it for you.
See, I wasn't overly that excited about the tickets I bought to the live event that's happening in Saskatoon back in January, because at the time, the product was meh. But now I get this rebooked show coming up this Sunday, and I'm telling you, I'm more excited than I've ever been before, because you're not sure. He's giving you a reason to believe in the house shows. I mean, when was the last time we saw belief that something crazy could go down at a house show?
And think about it. Last night, Dewdrop was on the board having a match. Now, granted, I'm sure she knew she wasn't wrestling. I'm sure he was smart enough to tell her that.
Right.
But she was on that internal board the entire day until match time, when all of a sudden somebody else came out to the ring. I'm not sure if we're talking about it later, so I'll leave it.
No, we're not talking about it later, so go ahead.
Okay, so Candice LeRae comes back, Poison Pixie herself, and it's just like, yep, nope. Just gonna do it. We don't have to tease it. We don't have to have Tony Khan sitting here and putting out 3 tweets telling us that Juice Robinson has beaten Jon Moxley a couple times this year and that he's earned himself a title match. And if you don't know who he is, don't worry, we're gonna tell you, because you yelled at us for not telling you who Mance Warner was 6 months ago when we just randomly dropped him on a rampage against our world champion.
Poor man.
But think about it. Right. Think about the difference. Like, I love Mance Warner. I know who Mance Warner is, but trust me, I don't blame people for not knowing who he is.
Yeah.
If you don't watch MLW, you have not a shit clue who this man would have been.
Yeah.
And why he gets to wrestle Jon Moxley.
Right.
Like, why Mox? But like, Triple H is like, we're going to play a song at a house show and they're going to do the rest of it for us.
It's so true. It is so true. I'm going to just put this out here quick right now. The only word you cannot say on this show is the F word.
Okay.
It's the only thing I ask. Everything else on the table. You want to say shit, ass, bitch, bastard, I don't care. As long as we don't use that F word, I'm good. We had Corporate Joe hopping in here. He had said, hey guys, thank you, Joe. Appreciate. I mean, you've always supported OG guy right there. Him and I started this back in 2015, or we continued it on back in 2015. Mel has, I got to find it again here. Mel has a very good point. She says, I will admit, I'm sad the WWE snagged Killer Cross, Karrion Kross, whatever you want to say, back from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Would have liked to see what they could have done with him. I fully agree. I would have loved to have seen what Cross could do in New Japan, because I think it would have been absolutely fantastic.
But who's to say that's not still a possibility under the Triple H watch of things? We know he's a little bit more open to working with other companies. So there is that possibility that if Killer Cross or Karrion Kross wanted to go over and do a couple of spots with New Japan, I think Triple H might be a little bit more understanding with being able to make that work.
Right. So that's very interesting, because I actually had that conversation today with another friend of mine over Facebook. Him and I talk a lot back and forth about professional wrestling. And that was actually something that was brought up. He asked, do you think that we could actually see more of a forbidden door being opened underneath Triple H? And honestly, my answer to him was not right now. I think Triple H is really trying to establish a new style or new type of WWE underneath his watch. And then maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, we could actually see a super show of sorts with a forbidden door being opened. So if that allows us and leads us to like a crossover with Karrion Kross, with New Japan being able to do stuff for a little bit, I'm all open for it. Bobby, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say, it doesn't even necessarily have to lead to a super show of sorts too. It could be maybe Karrion goes to do a few dates with New Japan, a couple of matches that he really wants to do. And in return, maybe it's a feud that happens. Maybe there's someone there that they really want to see him work with. And in return, maybe you get the rubber match or something like that at a WrestleMania, something where we see one of New Japan's bigger top talents come over to fight Cross, somewhere along those lines. Let's see. Joe's trying to sneak that F word in there.
Right. And then you had Mike there going, but that's Ed's last name.
Mike.
No, Fries. Yeah. Oh,
The F word.
that other F
Mother
word. Oh, mother effer. That's right. Chris, my good friend Chris Best, him and I actually had the opportunity to go to SummerSlam when it was in Toronto, Ontario, back in, what was it, 2005, I believe it was.
Was it that long ago? I thought it was.
Yeah.
Well, no, not the recent one, the one before it.
Oh, okay.
The one before, yeah, before that, yeah, because
Not
yeah,
the
my
Trish
kids,
Mania. Not the
my
Trish
kid
SummerSlam,
was
yeah.
still in his mother's belly when we went, so it was 2004 because he was born in 2005. So yes, but Chris, good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. He actually writes, the first thing I said when Hunter took over was that we're going to see a mass amount of wrestlers coming and going. The same thing happened when Vince took over from his dad. And that's, you know what, that's very true. We definitely did see a lot of different stars being not shuffled around, but really a lot of give and take when it came to, especially back with Vince Sr., because there was still pretty much territory days going on back then. So he was able to really shift around and be able to bring other people in to put a spotlight on them, so to speak, from the New York City area, and then allow them to go back to the territories to maybe help build that area, which was a very smart idea.
Or not go back to the territories as it was with most of them.
Right.
Which is where Triple H differs from Vince. Because when Vince did it, he killed the system.
Well, Vince Sr. was smart, though, too, because he would put certain contracts in place where he would basically loan out his guys at a fee so that he was making that percentage back while his guys were working for other companies. It was brilliant business.
It definitely was. So first off, Mel was actually at Monday Night Raw last night, and she actually earlier said Candice's return was such a moment to be present for. It was such a moment that I ran into the podcast room here because I had just finished recording a Karl Karufel unboxes, which I'll drop after the show today. But spoiler alert, there was a Candice LeRae t-shirt inside my pro wrestling crate. So I ran, grabbed that, threw it on, snapped a photo, put it up. I'm like, hell yes. Hell yes. And now I got to find that comment again here. She says here, we did see Mickie James come in with the Impact Women's title. Never say never, which is definitely verbiage that we use here in the world of professional wrestling. Joe apparently has a question. You guys want to see it?
We do.
Sure.
Joe's question for you guys. Do we see a WWE contracted talent on AEW programming or vice versa in the near future?
No, definitely not in the near future. I mean, I agree with the shaking of the head that Ed's got going on there. No, as Triple H begins to establish himself, I don't think he's going to play friendly with AEW. I don't think on the flip side, Tony Khan's too happy about the way that WWE has treated him. So I think there would be a lot of bridging required to even get to that point. So immediate future, definitely not. Down the road someday, again, back to Mel's comment, never say never.
That's right.
Exactly. I mean, Tony's been taking shots nonstop at WWE since before Vince got let go. And the shots have continued to come more over than not since Vince got let go. I don't think he's going to want any of our people on his programming. I think he's more worried about his talent showing up on Raw without knowing about it beforehand.
I think Triple H will bridge the gap with MLW before he'll bridge that gap with AEW, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Definitely, I would. And Mike is right. Mike coming in here as well. A happy belated birthday to him. We know that his birthday was yesterday. Always cheering for Mike. Love that guy. Because of Mike, I am sounding so much better today. So thank you. I took the advice. Everything is turned off because I have professional equipment and it is working beautifully. So I'm very happy and thankful. Mike, you were an amazing guy. Mike actually said Triple H called Mickie because they didn't have 30 women for that specific Royal Rumble. I'll throw that comment back up here. Ed, I'm sorry. It keeps like cutting you off
No.
a little bit there, and I don't mean for that to happen at all.
That's what happens when you're on the bottom. It's fine.
You just gotta lean up taller.
I'm just supporting everybody else. Just holding you two giants up, you know? Just
Look at
holding
them
the giants up.
arms. Pythons.
Hold up the giants.
So, right? I'm no giant, but I do appreciate it.
I mean, but going back to Mike's comment, and we see Pretty Kitten's comment on there, but going back to Mike's comment, he had 30 women for the Rumble, but they wanted to go without using as many of the NXT stars as possible. They made it a clear and present thing that they were going to use as few NXT talents, because they've been filtering NXT talents through that Rumble for years.
Right.
Because no program, unless you're Eve Riot Girls of Wrestling, Shimmer, Stardom, no roster, no company should have 30 women on their main roster shows. Right. You shouldn't. If you're not going to be devoted to women's wrestling and by devoted, I mean 3 or more matches a night, 2 or more promo segments a night, you can't have 30 women on your roster. You can't have like 15 for SmackDown and 15 for Raw. And actively push all 15 of them the way that they deserve.
Right.
It's why you have something like NXT, where you can have, that many women down there working, getting better, and you can have 10 women being featured on. If I counted right, at least 8 to 10 women featured on last night's Raw.
Yes.
That's a minus 5-star matches.
That's what he
I
said.
did. But I do want to put that
and as somebody who's been watching NXT religiously for over a year plus, and way back to Black and Gold, ever since it came to the network, I've been watching. The NXT women have not been having minus 5-star matches. Mandy Rose is at the best she's ever been. And believe it or not, she's better than the champion on the other roster. I'll say it right here. Right now, Mandy Rose is a bigger star and a better competitor than Toni Storm. And Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill.
When you said other program, I'm still thinking like Raw and SmackDown. So I thought you were talking. I'm like, I was ready to hide you on this stream if you were to say that name, Liv Morgan. No. Liv is life right now. Okay.
Liv is fantastic. Liv is getting better too. Liv is getting much better too. But Mandy has been on the top of her game since she came to NXT. Not even getting better since she got here. The moment she got to NXT, she's been better than she ever was on the main roster.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Joe, I would pop if a WWE talent did show up, though, and grab a mic and refer to AEW as that pissant company. LOL.
That'd be funny.
Right? It definitely would be funny.
They don't need that. They got MJF doing all that on the microphone for them right now. It's all good.
It's so true.
Have you seen the MJF interview? Like, not just the Ariel Helwani interview, but have you seen the Barstool interview that he did? Because if you haven't, that one's worth taking a watch, because Barstool, like, Harwani's like, no, I'm going to ask serious questions. And then Barstool's just Barstool. Right. You got El Presidente sitting there asking him questions. And Lord knows he's not going to try to keep MJF on track.
Right. Chris coming in here saying, I call what Mandy is doing the Trish Stratus effect. Mm-hmm. And Ed is the NXT aficionado around here. And he was nodding his head, yes. So there you go, Chris. You got Ed agreeing with you too. So my buddy and I, his name is Josh. Great guy. He's a local photographer here. I've known him for years. Him and I were talking, and this is something else that came up. This was a question that he had for me. Question was, why is NWA only subjecting themselves to studio shows? So what I came up with was, why is NWA not doing stadium shows for their bigger, like, pay-per-view type shows. Do we think that maybe the NWA like has reservations on running arenas, or do you think that it's like just a complacency, a small little happy place that they're in right now, and maybe they're afraid to go a little bigger than they are? So
yeah, and I mean, I'll touch on that one for a minute, because as somebody who is kind of behind the scenes doing a little bit of that sort of stuff, it's always that risk. Like, everybody always wants to push when you're doing well, when you've got good people on TV or good wrestlers in the ring, it's exciting. And people are like, well, if only you had a bigger place to do this at, you'd sell more tickets. But the mindset becomes, will we really? Just because said person who comes every show says we'd sell more tickets, are we going to go and put out more money and take the financial risk? At the same time, like with NWA too, like, I mean, they've got something that's going, it's working well for them. Seems like people, for the most part, are enjoying working with Billy Corgan and the team over there and having no problem with it. Obviously, the finances must be decent. If you go run that risk of throwing a big show in a big arena, you don't know whether or not you're going to sell it out. You end up sinking a whole bunch of finances. People could end up having contracts released as a result of it. And then it might hurt your smaller shows as a result too. The ones that are probably your bread and butter, bringing in the money with television deals or buys through Fight TV and stuff like that. So I believe that might be it. It could be a big reservation thing when it comes to trying to book a studio show for them at the moment.
okay, Ed, before you go, Joe is actually saying the NWA isn't that type of presentation. They know their niche and they cater to it.
Yeah.
And then I want to bring this one up as well from Mike. They can barely fill the studios they are in. A promotion like the NWA sending out ticket sales days before one of their big shows of the year. No way they can fill a stadium. So now is your turn. I want you to go and give me your thoughts on NWA and stadiums.
Yeah, I mean, a stadium show is a hell of a thing. I mean, here's the thing. Buildings that I think that the NWA could actively sell out for their bigger shows. We're talking high school gyms.
Right.
We're talking VFWs. We're talking the indie style building. No disrespect to the indie buildings who run those venues, but that's the bread and butter of the indie is scene. You run in high schools, you run in VFWs, you run in these types of buildings. The NWA could never, in the position it is right now, fill the ECW arena.
No,
that's a small building.
No.
Not even Hammerstein. I'm talking about the 6100 in Philly.
Oh,
okay, the 2300 arena or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
The 2300 arena in Philly. That thing's a small venue. That thing's a couple thousand.
Something like
maybe
that.
More?
Yeah.
I mean, Ring of Honor had a hard time selling it out sometimes. Now, granted, they mostly loaded those shows to make sure they sold out. Because when you say you're running that building, you make sure you load it to sell it. But it's like Joe said, this is an old Southern company. The NWA, even with Billy Corgan running the show, he knows what he has. He's a fan of the type of company he has. He's never going to be the guy who's going to look and say, I'm going to run a football stadium. He's the kind of guy who's like, I'm going to pick this beautiful place like Hammerstein. He would take something like Hammerstein and he'd be like, this is my end goal. Get me to the Hammerstein where I can fill that building out.
Perfect. No,
he saves the arenas for when the Smashing Pumpkins are back on tour.
Right.
and then they can't sell them out either. So it doesn't matter.
That's true, unfortunately. By the way, it's awesome to see Bobby. Also really happy seeing you back on camera, Ed. That coming from Mighty Joe, Corporate Joe, whoever you want to call him.
We got some things. We got some things coming down the pike. I got a fun show in the works that I'll be making an announcement on sooner rather than later.
Good.
Perfect.
Good. So now, Ed, you were talking a little bit about Ring of Honor, and them like trying to sell out, and even them having a little bit of an issue to sell out as well. Now we all know that Tony Khan, the head guy of AEW, recently purchased Ring of Honor, and we've been seeing a lot of Ring of Honor on AEW television. They ran a pay-per-view show. Yeah, a little bit. Joe, we would never do that. Never. We would never call Joe late for dinner. That's just rude.
Yeah. Always on time.
Rude. Mel, Ed coming back and making waves. Damn right. Ring of Honor Wrestling was purchased. Being shown a little bit here and there on AEW television. We've seen them run, like a show on their own, a Ring of Honor show since the purchase as well. But now we're taking a look at television for Ring of Honor. So I am going to say the name of the show that he was on, and I want to quote what Tony Khan has said, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on it afterwards here. And before I go through all of that, there you go, Astrid, clip it. Quick hello while I watch NXT. Of course. Love you, Astrid. Thank you for coming in. So Tony Khan appeared on the In the Click podcast, and he has now finally revealed which television network fans may soon find Ring of Honor programming on. He's quoted as saying the Ring of Honor pay-per-view events this year have been the most successful couple of Ring of Honor pay-per-view events in many years. And actually, they were both ranked in the probably top 3 or 4 Ring of Honor pay-per-view events ever. So this has been the best year Ring of Honor's ever had on pay-per-view, which is pretty amazing. If we can get the weekly TV going again, if we can get the weekly TV going again, it would be stronger. I would love to bring Ring of Honor back on a weekly basis. And it's a conversation I'm having with Warner Brothers Discovery pretty frequently. And I have to say, that's going to be really helpful in the success Ring of Honor has had on pay-per-view. I think they got a great look at how much opportunity there is in the Ring of Honor business and how many great wrestling fans there are. Not just fans for AEW, because obviously AEW is a top priority for TBS and TNT, but also now for Ring of Honor. Bring Ring of Honor and AEW together, lots of possibilities and synergies. Now, I know that was a lot. a lot. I know. We pretty much have Tony Khan coming in and saying, we're bringing it back. It's just a matter of when, pretty much. Ed?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Are you happy with that?
I mean, the Ring of Honor name is something I've always loved. I grew up as a WWE fan, but Ring of Honor always ran Lowell.
Right.
Lowell was a site that WWE would run for years. There'd always be a house show. Thursday, Raw Thursday. Shawn Michaels lost his smile. I was at those shows. Rocky Maivia won his first Intercontinental Championship. I was there. I was one of the kids that ran up and touched him on his shoulder when he came to the barricade after beating Triple H. I was there the day my favorite wrestler lost his smile. It's a small little town, but they ran it over and over and over again. And then they stopped because Vince didn't want to run rinky-dink towns anymore. He wanted to run the big towns. So he runs the big shows. Ring of Honor was then that nice little substitute in between. And it got me invested into some of these indie talents who I always watched. People like Matt Taven, people like The Kingdom, Adam Cole. It also allowed me to see people from New Japan. It's the only time I've ever been able to see LIJ live. It's the only time I've ever been able to see any of that talent, including the day I saw Bushi without his mask on, because he thought he was far enough that nobody was going to say hi. And I saw all 4 members of LIJ walking together, and I said, I yelled out hi, and I put my hand up like to my eye, like I did the whole Tetsuya Naito thing, and they all turned, and Bushi didn't have his mask on because he'd already taken it off because he walked away already. He didn't realize who called out, so he just turned around. Because again, it's a small building, and the only thing between the concession stands and the wrestlers' little private area backstage is a black curtain.
Right.
It's just
like a lot of indie shows are.
Yeah. It's one of those small things where he didn't realize it was a fan. He had his mask off. Sonata had his hair down. Like nothing had been done. They had just finished a meet and greet. But, Ring of Honor is that special company. I would love to see them on television again. The only thing is, if it's going to be Ring of Honor, you've got to get the AEW out of the Ring of Honor. Treat Ring of Honor like Ring of Honor used to be. Because right now, your world champion is not what Ring of Honor stands for.
No.
And that's not even so much the political. That's nothing. Ring of Honor was never a place for aging veterans. They were never the company who was like, we're going to bring in an aging veteran to get in the ring. Yes, they're going to bring in aging veterans to sell tickets, do a meet and greet, sit ringside, all kinds of stuff like that. Run the show because Lord knows Delirious never wanted to be on camera.
Right.
He was either in the ring or nowhere. But I mean, Ring of Honor holds a special place. Ole! But you can't have somebody like Chris Jericho representing that brand. Now, granted, I think Jericho drops this title immediately, and by immediately I mean relatively soon, to Daniel Garcia. Because I think that's where this whole story is going. The Daniel Bryan Jericho match was all leading to Bryan versus coming out of Bryan Garcia, which is all leading to Garcia defeating Jericho, leaving the JAS, and running Ring of Honor as its world champion.
Do you know she can lose that?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the first time I've heard that theory as well either, too. And I mean, it's right. Jericho doesn't represent what Ring of Honor is by any means. I was a little disappointed. I always grew up a Jericho fan, loved his work and everything like that. But it's the anti what Ring of Honor always was and stuff like that. And I can see why it's leaving a bit of a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And I have to agree with Ed that they need to get the AEW out of Ring of Honor if they're going to do it. It needs to be its own identity. It needs to have its own voice, and it needs to get back to what made Ring of Honor the way it was and everything like that. That is not a slam towards AEW by any means, so nobody take it that way. It's just simply, if you want to run Ring of Honor as Ring of Honor, run it as Ring of Honor and get people in there that understood Ring of Honor in the first place. Bring back some of the people for behind the scenes, like Ed was mentioning, some of the veterans that understand the Ring of Honor niche crowd and the people that will get behind it, and have them take control of the booking over there.
And just as Ed mentioned there, Daniel Garcia, right? Mike asking Jericho, in Ring of Honor has the first storyline lined up. Which of these young guys is going to take the title off of them? And yeah, I mean, like, you could do a Daniel Garcia. I mean, you could even do like a Ring of Honor original, like do a Matt Taven to become Ring of Honor champion once again. Vincent, even, I wouldn't mind Vincent, taking that championship. Dalton Castle, I wouldn't mind either, right? Like those names that are pretty much synonymous with Ring of Honor. Or if you want that star power, who better to represent a Ring of Honor than Samoa Joe?
That's
as
true.
Your world champion, right?
At the same time, if they wanted to go star power, they didn't have to go with Jericho. They could have gone with Bryan Danielson.
They could have, yeah. Yeah, I do agree here with Chris as well. He says, as long as Ring of Honor doesn't get random, strange hours to air their show like they did here in Canada, he says, I will gladly watch them again. And yeah, they did have some really strange hours going on up in Canada. Joe is a very big Ring of Honor fan, and he says, as an ROH fan, I'm not a fan of what Tony has done with it so far. And
don't blame you. Don't blame you.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm hoping that this is just going to build towards, maybe a not so much a rebrand, but just that quick little rebuild to be able to get the people back interested and invested in Ring of Honor. And yeah, Mike's right. Whomever beats Jericho will get instant name recognition. 100% they will. That without a doubt. Whoever beats Jericho, if they are an unknown person to absolutely everybody, they're going to get name recognition instantly. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm hoping that we do get to see a TV deal secured sooner than later and maybe get back to the roots of Ring of Honor and allowing us to have that honor brought back and restored. We're going to take a quick commercial break here because, well, yeah, damn it, I got bills to pay, and I want you guys to go and check out my friends over at Collar and Elbow.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Wrestling, a love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand, the wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Was for Ryan.
That's right. My good friend Al Snow has that company, Collar and Elbow brand. Please make sure that when you're going and checking out collarandelbowbrand.com that you use the promo code JK Podcast, which will get you 10% off your entire purchase. Now, if you were looking for anything having to do with Turnbuckle Studios, check this out. The official Turnbuckle Studios shop is open. Official merchandise from all the favorite shows, plus merchandise you can only find here. Stuff from Turnbuckle Studios. Karl Karufel unboxes. The Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke. Miscellaneous products that you can only find here. Beats and Beatdowns, and Turnbuckle Talk. Find all this merchandise exclusively at karlkarufel.redbubble.com. And that helps pay the bills as well, my friends. So please make sure you're going over there, getting yourself some amazing merchandise, whether it's from Turnbuckle Talk, The Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke, or even that really cool show called Beats and Beatdowns that you can find on Turnbuckle Studios. Make sure you're going and picking up that merch from t-shirts, mugs, travel cups, stickers, anything you can imagine, almost is available there for you. And yes, Joe, F the Remsburg. Very much so. F the Remsburg.
I heard a rumor that all the cool kids are wearing Beats and Beatdown shirts these days.
They definitely are. They have been selling like crazy. You need to get in on it. You definitely need to get in on it. So we just had a few people that had joined.
Okay.
And I want to get to Ryan here as well. Right. Ryan just joined in, guys. They should make ROH a YouTube show. They could make tons of money just running on YouTube.
You'd think that.
You know what? Yeah, I think they definitely could. I think that would be a fantastic idea for them. And even if they were to do the,
Nice.
I can't even remember what it's called. Their station, I guess, like their TV station, where you pay like $4.99 a month and you get full access to everything that they have. I think people would be willing to pay the $4.99, just like they do with Impact Plus, right? You can do the same thing with Ring of Honor for a cheap price. You're going to make your money that way, plus all the ad revenue, plus, all the clicks and all the views and everything. You're going to start to really make money. We'll get to these other quick comments here as well before we continue on with the next topic. Mike coming in here as well saying Jericho will be champion going into the new show. He is a safe champion and he can put the feather in his cap that he found 2 promotions TV deals.
I don't want him in charge of any of my TV deals, let alone more of them. I want less Jericho, not more.
I don't know if we need to inflate Jericho's ego that much more. But
right.
You inflate him anymore, he's going to be friggin' floating down the friggin' Broadway in the Macy's Day Parade.
I would absolutely love that.
I'm just thinking that's kind of cool. When do we get the Jericho float?
Right? I'm a Jerichoholic.
I used to be.
Joe saying that he'd actually prefer that Tony sell Ring of Honor to someone else. I just don't trust him with it.
Well, maybe we
Not
should,
just yet.
Maybe we should put some money together here, Joe. We'll talk to Tony.
Hey, that's an idea. That's an idea. Joe, yes, that is definitely coming. And apparently he speaks for everyone. It definitely will be happening. There will be a season 2 of Beats and Beatdowns coming out. We're getting details and everything all figured out.
Very soon.
And very, very soon we're going to be getting at least the first few episodes recorded and done. And then it'll be put out on a weekly basis from there for everyone. I know 100% available on Turnbuckle Studios, and then that's some other stuff that we're figuring out as well, is where else can we allow this to go and put this as well. So
I think I know a place.
You do?
I think so. I've
Really?
I've heard of this place where friends can gather together and talk about fun stuff.
Nice. Almost like a bar of sorts, like a tavern.
But you know the frequent call of this place? Ole.
Oh, that's right.
That's where everybody knows your call letters.
That's exactly.
Cheers bar is about 20 minutes down the road that way.
I know that you guys do see that logo that is up there on the screen. I want everybody to know that some big things are actually coming and happening soon. Talks right now are hopefully for about the end of October. So stay tuned for that. And I know all of you that are following me on the Twitter box, you've seen me posting a few things about some different stuff that may be going on. Stay tuned for that. And remember that chant and those call letters. O-L-E. Ole.
Ole. Then there's the Ole Pod Challenge that Chris Parrish came up with as well, too. And that's where somebody has to go as close to the mic as possible and yell out Ole. I'm the first one to take the challenge, but we're going to keep this thing going.
So does that mean that it's
just like a Ole kind of thing?
Does that mean it's Ed's turn, or is it?
I have to channel Mike Kennedy for this one.
Okay.
Ole.
Yes, somebody clip that.
We'll just eventually have a whole hour worth of clips of Ole Pod Challenge.
I will definitely have to make sure that I jump into a show at some point and allow it to be my turn for that. I think that should be something that we're doing as hosts when we bring our guests on. I like that challenge. I like that Ole challenge.
Yeah,
I like it.
Absolutely.
It's fun. It's harmless.
You know something that I'm not a fan of?
What's this?
People that post things on Twitter. And right now I'm talking about Ric Flair posting on Twitter.
Okay, that's somebody you should
Can we just skip all things Ric Flair because
I need to go over this because this just absolutely pisses the shit right out of me right now. So September 26th, Ric Flair tweets, "Thank you to everyone who helped me celebrate my 50 years in the business. One thing is for certain," and all in capitalized letters, "I will never retire. Woo."
I'm glad people shelled out $600 to go watch Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's kind of like how many concerts you go to where it's the final tour ever, and then all of a sudden it's just the final tour of that year.
Kiss.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, I absolutely love you. You have been one of my favorites growing up throughout the generations of superstars that I have seen come into the business. Please, for the love of all that is holy, Jesus, tap dancing Christ, stay out and retire already. Please, we are begging you to do so. Does not mean that you have to step away in any form or fashion. You can still have your influences being shown through everything, which it has been, even at football games, baseball games, soccer, anything you can think of, television commercials, everywhere has at some point in time done the woo, the Ric Flair woo. They have done you have had music videos and songs created for you, the Ric Flair drip. Everything has been absolutely fantastic. Please, please, for the love of God, I beg you, let us have our memories, because I don't want to see you get into the ring again and die like you just about did twice during your final match.
Mm-hmm. Well, that whole speech there, Karl, deserves a big woo.
Oh my goodness. I just, yeah, okay. Now I got to get to some of these comments here quick. Joe says, "I used to be a fan of Rick, but now it's just like, go away, you old fart." And Kitty Munson made an appearance.
Yes, Kitty Munson has made an appearance.
Mel coming in saying Kitty as well. See, look at how great Ed is. He's here on stream, and he's even in there commenting on screen. Woo! Woo! Rick's last match for me still to this day has been his match with HBK back at WrestleMania 24. I have not and refuse to watch any of his matches after that. Coming from Chris Best. Yeah, the "I'm sorry, I love you" matchup holds a very special place in my heart. My two favorite wrestlers of all time. I shouldn't say that because I absolutely adore Jake the Snake Roberts as well. Two of my favorite in Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels going head to head at WrestleMania, and just the intensity that was there. Chef's freaking kiss. Bobby, what are your thoughts on Ric Flair's comments of "I will never retire"?
Yeah, I think I share the same sentiments where it's just like, just go away already. Like, and again, you don't have to go away from the public eye entirely, but don't step in a wrestling ring ever again. If you want to put on cards like you did for your last match, minus the last match itself, fine. I was thoroughly entertained by at least 70 to 75% of that card that night. It was a reasonably good show and worth the price of admission. I just don't want to see him in the ring. Same with Ricky Steamboat, who's now talking about getting back in the ring again. Like, all these guys, I want to remember them in their prime for those great moments that they gave us. It kills the mystique of them as professional wrestlers when they try to carry on to do something that they're just not capable of doing the way they used to. It's no different from when WWE brings back The Undertaker. As I loved The Undertaker, always loved The Undertaker. I don't love The Undertaker so much when he comes back anymore because it kills the mystique that made The Undertaker a badass individual inside the ring. Now it's like, now he's kind of actually a dead man walking legitimately, and I don't necessarily want to see that in a professional wrestling ring.
Right. Ed, before you go, Ryan's comment there says, I would love to see Ric Flair in AEW and be the manager of the new Four Horsemen. And then who do you guys think would be his 4 wrestlers? Ed, I know how much of a fan you are of AEW. So
every
that's
week.
why I pulled
Every
this up
week.
here.
Every week I'm constantly watching something else. No, but this is actually a really easy one. This is actually a really easy question. If you're talking about a new Four Horsemen, you're starting with Andrade because you're keeping on the Flair legacy. So you have to have Andrade. I would then put Ricky Starks.
I hope so.
Because if you're going to make a name off somebody in this business in AEW, Ricky Starks needs to be on that list.
That's for sure.
You need a big guy, right?
Right.
Wardlow.
Should.
All right, well, you take
Wardlow.
care.
Let's put Wardlow in there. Dude can wrestle. Dude's great. People love him. Put him in the Horseman. He can be a heel. He can be a babyface. He does everything you need. Plus, he's gorgeous. Like, have you seen him? He's a stud. Wardlow. Number 4. I'm really going to throw an oddball at you here for number 4, though. Give me Rey Fenix without the mask. Unmask Phoenix and give me a maskless Rey Fenix.
I can dig it.
Give me something different. Because the Four Horsemen were always this group of guys who were men's men, who were wrestlers and technical wrestlers. If we're going to do a new Four Horsemen, let's not redo the Four Horsemen. Let's evolve. Let's upgrade the Four Horsemen. Let's make it guys like Andrade. Let's make it guys like Phoenix. Let's make it guys like Ricky Starks. These are guys who you could build a company on for 20 years. And then have Wardlow, who can do everything they can't. He can be big. He can be tall. He can be the scary guy. That's my Four Horsemen right there.
See, I'm on board with where you're going, Ed, but I think I would remove Rey Fenix without with the mask situation. And I think I'm going to slot in Brian Pillman Jr. into this mix because you're talking about guys who could use a little bit of a push, guys who have shown that they can, they can go in the ring and that they're continuously progressing, but could use that extra help of that a faction would bring. I think that Brian Pillman Jr. brings that to the professional wrestling ring. And I think that he would slot in there. He has such a high level of respect for pro wrestling from the past that I think that it would be such an honor for him that he would carry on that badge well into the future when it comes to representing a new Four Horsemen.
Those are good picks too. If I were to have to choose 4, FTR, Silas Young, and MJF.
Also not going to complain with those picks at all.
Yeah. Joe, we got to put Joe's comment up here. Joe saying that he would do Starks, Wardlow, Garcia, and Brian Pillman Jr.
So we're all relatively on the same page here.
Smart man, this Ed Fries guy.
Yeah. I agree. He really is.
Yeah, I mean, we're all relatively on the same page there. I mean, and that's a testament to those workers. For even because of how illustrious the Four Horsemen are, just that name, the Four Horsemen, is synonymous with greatness. And to even include any of those names in there is a true testament to who they are and their character.
I mean, because think about it. Think about the last time that somebody tried to do a new Four Horsemen. Do you remember the group of names that was in that group?
Are we talking?
Let's see if anybody can name the 4.
We're not talking Evolution, are we?
Fortune. Give me the 4 names in Fortune.
Couldn't tell you.
I'll give you one. AJ Styles.
Still lost.
AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels,
okay.
Kazarian, Beer Money, and Desmond Wolfe.
Interesting.
You'll know Desmond Wolfe because Desmond Wolfe is now he's the commentator. What is his name? Why is his name escaping me now? He was the one who did did NXT tomorrow. Nigel McGuinness.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the name I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. AJ Styles was in a group that was led by Ric Flair as a mini Ric Flair. Right. That's why when you're trying to redo the Four Horsemen, you change it, you update it, you do something different, because otherwise you get stuck with something like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Impact.
I couldn't even remember. I couldn't even remember it, and I'm an Impact guy, and I couldn't remember that. Jeez.
You want to know the only reason why I remember who's in it? Because it's the group that's in the ring with Ric Flair. When you have that great YouTube video of Jay Lethal being Ric Flair to Ric Flair, and you have Ric Flair losing his ever-loving mind.
Right, the woo-off.
Yeah, among other things.
Yes.
Ric Flair lost his ever-loving mind.
Yep, he did. He did, and it was always a great sight to see. I loved it. Speaking of great sights. Oh, good Lord. I was so happy with this. I have no clue what's going to happen with it yet, but I was so happy to see Saraya on my television screen within AEW. I wouldn't have cared if it was AEW, MLW, NWA, Impact, Ring of Honor, GCW, WWE. I don't give a shit. I like seeing Saraya. And I'm very interested to see if she is actually cleared, considering they have already added her to the website and have already put the graphic underneath showing that she is 0 for 0 in singles, tag, and trios. Does this mean she's cleared? And if she is, who do we want to see her feud against? Bobby.
Ooh, that's a good question. I am happy to see her on screen, definitely, because she brings a star power and everything. I didn't really know about going the angle of getting inside the actual ring herself at this point. If she is cleared, though, and maybe she is, and that's where WWE dropped the ball in letting her go. Obviously, I mean, you need her to mix it up with some of the big names at first, definitely, just to reestablish things over there. Have her be a bit of a leader, have some of those really awesome matches that, clearly she could have with a Britt Baker, with someone like an Athena, Toni Storm and stuff like that too. But inevitably after that, being able to work with some of the younger talent to not only help get them over, but to maybe teach them and show them the ways and stuff like that, how to present yourself on TV in order to stand out like a star. Because the reason that she is a star is because she knows how to conduct herself as such when she presents herself in the ring. Just her walking out, she didn't need to say a damn thing. And she had that crowd eating out of the palm of her hands. Not to mention, she chose a badass theme song to come out to.
Right? Yes, she did. Joe's got an unpopular opinion. Just pretty typical, and I expect that. Saraya's debut did absolutely nothing for me. Sorry. His Canadian is showing there. He said sorry.
He apologized.
You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to apologize for that. The Twitterverse was rampant with opinions just the same as yours, Joe. So it's not, yeah, definitely there was. There were people that were saying this is absolute garbage and she should never have even attempted to make her way into another company at all. They were happy seeing her gone, blah, 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 blah. And then you get some of us, like myself and Bobby. We got to go down to Ed here in a moment, but the two of us, at least right now, who have said, hey, we can dig it. We can dig it. Ed, what are your thoughts on Saraya?
So here's the thing.
Anytime Ed says, so here's the thing, we know this is going to be good. So listen up, people.
She can wrestle any woman on their roster. She could wrestle any woman in the world, even on WWE's roster, in an AEW ring. If the booking of the women's division doesn't get any better than it already is, and it's not booked at 9:30 at night on a Wednesday, and it doesn't get more than 10 minutes, it ain't gonna fucking.
Oh, there's that F word.
It ain't gonna matter. Ain't nothing going. Sorry, Carl. You told me I can't say one thing. Of course I did.
I try to limit it. I don't want the entire show just to be the F word.
The donation swear jars over to the side.
Yeah. I'll donate to the swear jar. But no, like, if they don't book them, they already have ultra talented women who could do so many amazing things. But guess what? You don't book them right, so it don't matter. You got Toni Storm as your world champion. It don't matter. You had Britt Baker as your champion for how many days? The fact that you have to question it, I don't know. Was it over a year? Was it under a year? I don't remember.
It was over
because
a year.
It didn't matter.
It was over a year. Yeah.
Because it didn't matter. Hikaru Shida held the title for almost the entire pandemic.
Right.
But she ain't on TV anymore. And I love that they have YouTube programs where you can get all kinds of talent on your wrestling programs. But don't sit here and tell me that when I tell you that you're not booking your women's division properly and you come back with the excuse, don't you see how many women's matches are on Dark? Don't you see how many women's matches are on Dark Elevation? I don't care. Dark and Dark Elevation are main event. They don't matter. They're an internet program. They don't matter. I don't care if you book them into your programs. If you're not telling me what's going, you had Diamante versus Big Swole have a best of three, like 3 stages of hell match, and you couldn't bother to put the thing on television.
Right?
You couldn't bother to put it on television.
But here's the positive. Saraya brings experience that if they actually give her some say in the women's division and she can get her input in there, she might be able to help push that women's division to get that attention that, you know, they are lacking at the moment. And I think that's where a lot of the fans like that are excited about this are hopeful, I guess, so to speak. They're hopeful that her addition to the roster is Tony Khan's to admitting, hey, we need to fix this problem. And maybe I need to bring in someone the level of a Saraya to come in and help us out.
If that's the case, bring her in to run the women's division and not be a part of the women's division.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't need to see Saraya Paige wrestle again. I'd love to see her live the rest of her life. Because unlike everybody else, it's not like she took a huge bump that ended up, you know, derailing her career. It was a small thing. And I don't want to see her career end the same way I don't want to see Brian's end. But Brian is apparently hell-bent and determined that he's going to end his life in a wrestling ring before he hits 60. Mm-hmm. At least, unlike Ric Flair, at least he can still go.
Right.
As he's determined to end his life in the ring. But like, you know what? I don't want to see that for her. Make her the figurehead of the women's division and have her spearhead backstage with Tony Khan to make sure they get 2 segments a night.
Yep.
Give them half an hour on your 2-hour wrestling show.
It'd be a shocker. Have them open Dynamite one Wednesday coming up. Wouldn't that be something?
Right.
Have them not close the show if they're not going to bleed, because that's the only 2 times they've ever closed the show was when they were bleeding.
Yeah.
Because it was the St. Valentine's Day the St. Patrick's Day match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. They bled during that one. That one closed Dynamite. And then the Bunnies match. Didn't that one close Dynamite too?
I believe it did.
And I know that she bled like a stuffed pig in that one too.
Yeah, she did.
The last thing I need is in my women's wrestling is like, I get that all wrestling gets to be different and creative.
Right.
But for me personally, that's not what I want to see in my women's wrestling. So I prefer not to see that as the lasting images of what the foundation of their division is.
Chris coming in here. Before I get to Chris's comment, I just want to say that if Saraya, Paige, whatever you want to call her, is going to have a match in AEW, I want it to be against Jamie Hayter, please. And then I will be happy. Saraya versus Jamie Hayter. And then done. I'll be happy with that. Chris saying I could see. How are we supposed to be pronouncing her name? Saraya?
I've said Saraya, but I've never heard it said. So.
Okay, I could see Saraya taking what she learned from Dusty and Fit Finlay, and hopefully applying that to booking the AEW Women's Division properly. Joe's right. Joe says, screw it. Let's do Hogan versus Flair in AEW. Is a loser actually dies match. Yep, in a loser actually dies match.
The best part is considering the health of those two guys, they probably both died before the match was over.
Right? They probably would. They're both gonna die on their way to the ring. Yeah. I mean, like, I really hope Saraya does do that as well. That maybe
no,
an error or a mistake.
Separate those two thoughts. We're gonna finish talking about the loser dies in the ring match. And we're going to go back to a different thought about Saraya, right?
Yes.
Can we separate those thoughts?
We're not. Saraya is not dying in the ring.
I thought you were connecting the two thoughts, and I was like,
nope.
We need to stop there first.
Nope.
Okay,
good.
Good.
Going back to Chris's comment here, we are going to talk about Saraya booking and helping the women's division, which I think would be absolutely fantastic. That is definitely what I want to see, and I hope that it was an error on media's part or social media web design's part when they actually put the graphic underneath with the singles, tag, and trios matchup. Actually, I'd say she won a trios match pretty good. That's for a topic for another day.
That seemed more like a triple threat. Seemed more like a triple threat to me, Carl, but
or a 2-on-1, depends how you look at it.
Walkers and bedpans are legal to be used during a matchup between Hogan and Flair.
It's like 90s wrestling with Hogan and Flair.
Oh, we are going way off from where we were.
All right.
Let's circle back. Yep. We're going to circle back now. We're going to do a full circle right to our last topic today.
All right.
Full circle. I do want to put this graphic up here first, and I do need to change this text as well, because the graphic depicting the superstars in the ring was provided by Black Mass Designs. You can find them on Twitter at BLXCKMASSDESIGN. This guy did an amazing job with this graphic that you see there, and I want to make sure that he gets all of the kudos for it. Talking about it, I tweeted out that picture. The damn thing freaking blew up. I'm going to go to it here. I have it as my pinned tweet for this show. I'm going to go to the tweet activity as you guys take a look at this picture. It has had 269,773 impressions throughout Twitter. It has had 7,065 different engagements on it, and it has been liked 1,695 times, quoted 186, and retweeted 212 times. Damn. Now, trying to go through and see all of these comments that have been put there has been tiring. To try to go and interact and make sure that those voices are heard has been exhausting.
Carl, it seems like you could use a pill. I mean, there's one that could make you larger, one that could make you small.
I like being big. There's been a lot of divide when it comes to yes, Joe, leave it to him to derail the show. with his comments. No, they're not stupid comments. No comment is a stupid comment because, as I have said this entire time that I've been doing these shows, all of you that are watching and listening are my co-hosts as well, and your interaction is 100% appreciated. Just like the comments that have come through from some of these people on this Twitter post that I put out there have been everything from "this is amazing, take my money now" to "this is the absolute shits, what the hell do you think you're doing?" So now this has been one of the biggest, most talked about things to happen within the world of professional wrestling in a long freaking time. We're talking this whole White Rabbit saga that is going on, which has people believing that it's Bray Wyatt, just as you saw in that graphic, and that possibly we have got characters coming to life from the Firefly Funhouse. Now, I know that both you, Bobby and Ed, have said that you have done extensive work when it comes to taking a look at this White Rabbit saga. And I want to start with you, Ed. Give me what you have found, what you have learned, and we're going to go from there.
Nothing. We all know the same amount as anybody else. 2 weeks ago at SmackDown, during a commercial break, they dropped the lights and played Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit. Then they did it again the next night at a house show. Same format. They then played it on Sunday night in an empty arena before the show for whatever reason. On Monday Night Raw, the following week, we got a QR code that led us to a game of Hangman, which asked who killed the world. And the answer was you did. And the first 5 letters picked by the Hangman player were the letters demon.
Right.
Yep. We then continue to smack. The end of that says that on 9/23, at 9/23, we're going to find out more. I erroneously tweeted that it was a commercial break at 9/23, so that it was left Kit Kat or right Kit Kat. I was wrong. I admit it. I apologize. It was not right or left Kit Kat. That was the thing here. Just before they went to break, it turned 9/23. Guess who was in the ring?
Killer Cross.
Karrion Kross. Guess what Karrion Kross was saying in the ring when 9/23 happened?
You fell for it. You fell for it. This is exactly what we wanted. We being the key word.
Yes, what we wanted. We then progress to Monday. We progressed to SmackDown. Earlier in that show, we'd gotten a QR code that had given us the directions to the Rogers Center for Monday Night's Raw in Edmonton. Yep. I believe the White Rabbit stuff has been happening in every house show since. It is happening during the commercial breaks because on Raw, we did get a photo from our friend Cody Defoe, who did tell us that they played White Rabbit with the red lighting during the show in Edmonton last night.
Mike the ref posted a short video of it too.
Yes,
Mike. Yes, Mike did. We also, with that one that talked about that it being in Edmonton, we had the word patricide.
Yep.
When Dominic Mysterio came to the ring while Seth Rollins was taking on Rey Mysterio, the QR code first appeared. With him with a chair in his hand to end the relationship with his father. So we continue with that angle. We then go further. The QR code from last night is a video of wrestlers saying words, and it's a stop motion video getting all kinds of different legends saying who killed the world you did. It is posted in a TikTok format. At the bottom of that, there is the latitude and longitude of a place in Italy that is home to the Pink Rabbit. It is this massive thing that's sitting out in the middle of nowhere. in Italy called the Pink Rabbit. Just north of this Pink Rabbit is an inn. The Let Me Inn. Also, if you take the most recent one and you apparently break it down to source code, it has the first 2 lines of Malachi Black's theme.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, now you're caught up. Good luck trying to figure out what the F's going on.
Joe's got a completely different idea when it comes to the whole rabbit thing. He thinks it's a returning Adam Rose with the bunny dude from NXT. Call me crazy. You crazy son of a bitch.
Yeah, I gotta go with crazy on that one.
Chris does make a good point there. He says the last time I can remember this kind of frenzy was maybe back in 2007 when Jericho's return was promoted with that whole Save Us Y2J campaign, which, yeah, I think that's probably the last time. Bobby, what do you have that's interesting or different about this whole White Rabbit thing?
Well, I mean, even prior to the White Rabbit reveals, I've been following very closely to try to find out anything about Bray's potential return, because I think character-wise, he's just such a unique individual. And so I did closely follow. And again, I know it's a fan YouTube channel and that these are fan-made videos, but being that Bray Wyatt, even on his social media, has the mention of the It Begins Again kid, makes me believe that maybe it's not so fan-like as it is. So there's a lot of videos made by the It Begins Again guy, a lot of which feature a White Rabbit. In fact, the first one that shows the White Rabbit actually does reference Karrion Kross or Killer Kross directly in that particular video. Yes. Also, many references to Scarlett being involved there, and many other people that Bray has worked with or been friends with. I believe that, you know, going off like Ed saying, it's hard to judge what is going to happen for sure. But I believe anybody who at this point believes that anything less than all roads eventually leading to Bray Wyatt would be a little short of disappointing. Now, I don't necessarily think the White Rabbit itself is Bray Wyatt, and I don't necessarily think that it all stops there. I think that once we find out the White Rabbit, it's only going to be one piece to the bigger collective as a total. I do believe the one name that people aren't talking about, and Triple H has alluded to names coming in that isn't even on the said poster and could be part of the said Wyatt Six, as they say, Taylor Rotunda. And not coming back as Bo Dallas, I believe coming in as Taylor Rotunda himself, or one of the incarnations of these different characters. And if you go to the It Begins Again channel, there actually is a whole video where there's a voice being talking about pure evils and the evils of the world and stuff like that. And there's a guy in a blue suit walking around with a baseball bat and a white creepy mask on, swinging it around. And at the end, it reveals that it was Taylor Rotunda in that one as well, too. So it really makes you start to wonder, could Taylor Rotunda be on the verge of making his return and be maybe the last piece before they open that red door, as we've seen in the game that was put out, to open the gate, the supposed gates of hell, where you will release the said demon back into the world of professional wrestling. I believe that, yes, the picture, that graphic that that gentleman, and by the way, he should be making WWE's posters for him because that was fantastic. Right. But I believe those 5 make a lot of sense. Although Dexter Lumis makes me scratch my head a little bit, but only a little. He's got the creepiness and the mystique about him right now that I understand where it fits. But I do believe,
creepy bastard.
Oh, for sure he is. Just the look of that guy. He's creepy Stone Cold Steve Austin all the way. But I believe that you slot Taylor Rotunda into this, and I believe that you drag out the full reveal of a Bray Wyatt return to the Survivor Series in War Games itself. I believe at Extreme Rules, they can reveal one piece of the puzzle, have the White Rabbit reveal, or have one of the characters come together, start showing the forming of a faction. But at the War Games, at Survivor Series, imagine the Bloodline finishes off the night in victory, standing there victorious, and suddenly the lights go out, they come back on, and surrounding the ring are Dexter Lumis, Scarlett Bordeaux, Karrion Kross, Taylor Rotunda, Braun Strowman, and inside the ring, right standing behind Roman Reigns, is the man himself, Bray Wyatt, as he makes that attack on the champion right then and there.
Freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. To include Bo Dallas in there as well. Well, I mean,
I like that.
Let's not call him Bo Dallas anymore.
Yeah,
but that's something that I have not seen from anywhere else. Right? You were the first person that I've really seen that from, which is very interesting.
I would say it's gaining steam online. People have been picking that up as of late. Chris does mention that the one piece I didn't get to was there was a zip code that leads you to Corbin, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And when you look up the zip code, it does come into the Wyndham Inn. Also, there is now a YouTube page for something like that, for the White Rabbit. And there are 2 videos on this YouTube channel. One of them is a 3-second thing, which gives you to the Wyndham, the city of Wyndham in Kentucky. And the other is a 15-year-old music video. 15 years old music video where they put up Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit.
Nice.
2 videos.
Which that YouTube channel is called White Rabbit Records.
Yes.
Right? 15 years ago. Joe, as well, I say, whatever it is, I hope it doesn't legitimately get leaked and they keep it a secret until it actually happens. I fully freaking agree with that. I was doing some research as well. There's a few things that I've got here that I'm just going to run through really quick. First thing, and I just want to put out there that I have gotten a lot of this information from the Twitter account Thunder2K, THUND, the number 3R 2K. So July 4th, Bray tweeted asking if anyone knew anything about South Arkansas and if anyone could locate or navigate the Devil's Hole. Info was found on a page on undergroundzarks.com. The page forum has an admin by the name White Rabbit. In the first QR code, we see a white rabbit jump to select letters, just like Ed had said, which spelt out demon, which could reference to like Devil's Hole or the Fiend. The first QR code Hangman game was Who Killed the World, with the answer you did. July 15th, uploaded interview with Michael Cole, just as Ed mentioned, interviewing Bray Wyatt, where he said, I did not make the world the way it is. You did. Right? The font style in the answer to the question you did matches the font style that has been used for the Wyatts t-shirts that have come out. So that was an interesting thing. Live audience playing White Rabbit. Bray Wyatt's Twitter bio, he actually had in there, he who opens the doors below, matching the rabbit hole that leads down. Mm-hmm. Yes, Joe, at least it is not Nia Jax's hole.
That's true.
Yes.
That'd be a real ouch situation. But also with Wyatt's social media, keep in mind too, there's one thing that people aren't noticing, but there is a random just red circle listed on his bio, which very reminiscent of the same red circle around the play button on the feed your head graphic that is on all of these videos that they keep releasing too.
That's why we came full circle to this topic. It's exactly why. His Instagram picture.
One of these ways.
Yeah.
That way, red
right over there. His Instagram pic has the same checkered pattern as the live or as the videos from the QR code, and is upside down as it is in the film Alice in Wonderland as Alice falls. Interesting. The poster for Extreme Rules, some of them actually have lanterns and fireflies. A lantern surrounded by fireflies, which is very interesting.
Most notably the Fight Pit one.
Yep. Yes. Which, if you know anything about Bray Wyatt, very synonymous with him, with the fireflies, the lantern, everything. It adds up. So, in an episode of the Firefly Funhouse in October of 2020, Bray Wyatt was dressed as the Mad Hatter, while Alexa Bliss wore a black and white checkered dress. Again, making a reference to Alice in Wonderland for some reason. Another QR code, the rabbit hops through the door. And yes, the word patricide appears. The word patricide means the killing of one's father. And in an old Florida Championship Wrestling promo, Bray Wyatt talks about and speaks to killing his father. So again, another little twist in there.
Could also, just speaking of that too, Carl, could also be reference to the fall of Vince McMahon or the death of the father that led Bray Wyatt through the initial run in the WWE.
Right? Yeah, like 100%. That was exactly where I was going with the next.
Because Daddy ain't here no more.
Right? Yeah. Joe saying, so basically, if it's not Bray, this has to be the best trolling job of all time. Right?
Triple H just wanted to play some music at a show, and everybody started going wild with it.
Right?
By the way, all the artwork for all of this stuff is all eerily reminiscent of the artwork by Karl Scarborough, who is synonymous with Bray Wyatt and wrestlers of all types, including Dexter Lumis and Karrion Kross.
Yep.
As well as one of the guys who helped him, along with Jason Baker, the guy who made the Fiend mask, all worked on the Fiend stuff together.
Well, he's the one that leaked that photo of a white rabbit design shortly after this all started happening as well, too. I mean, it's like they're slapping us in the face with it, but like you said, if it doesn't lead that way now, what the hell are you going to do?
Yeah, the white rabbit on the left-hand side right here is work of Karl A. Scarborough.
Right? Yeah. Like, just holy shit. Absolutely insane.
I love that mask. By the way,
by the way, that rabbit was on Bray Wyatt's Twitter profile within the last month, too, by the way.
Yes, I know. Oh my God.
Just keep in mind, I don't know if you guys saw the post. Bray Wyatt would never rent a car from Hertz Rent a Car.
Never. I do have to point this out, though, as well. Something that a lot of people may just say, oh, lots of conspiracy theorists talk this way. But we're talking about this white rabbit, and we are chasing this white rabbit, which is a governmental term in which we use to describe people's fascination with chasing down the truth, following leads, even if it takes us down a path of deception. So we're chasing the hell out of this thing, going, by God, in your best JR voice that you can have, it's Bray Wyatt. Only for us to be led all the way to deception. I don't know which way is left, right, up, or down right now. North, south, I don't freaking know when it comes to this. All I know is that I'm invested and I am happy with what has been going on here. Wow.
The best part is it gives us opportunities to have a long, strong conversation where nobody's wrong, because anything you say is very possible with this, because we don't know shit about any of it, really. I mean, it's all speculation at this point. Yeah, of course.
At one point, At one point, I just wanted to be funny. Somebody was talking to me. I'm like, you guys are all idiots. It's all for Naomi. And people are like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, well, her first name's Trinity. And people are like, yeah, and I'm like, well, Matrix, Trinity, follow the White Rabbit. It's all for Naomi to join the bloodline. You guys are idiots. I just wanted to see if I could get a rise out of somebody. It was hysterical.
And who knows? Who knows, though? Like right now, honestly, who freaking knows? Are they leading us down? Are we chasing this White Rabbit all the way to deception?
It could be nothing. The best part is that this is just Triple H having fun, and it's nothing.
It's GTV for a new generation.
Like, holy shit right now. Like, holy shit balls, Batman. I am invested in something. Like, again. I'm starting to fall away from the WWE. Triple H is now in the head, and I'm starting to come back to it again. And then it's just kind of like, well, he's bringing back a lot of these people that were let go, and yeah, I get it. Okay, it's cool. I'm starting to fall back again. And out of the blue, this white freaking rabbit comes in, and I'm like, I'm not a fan of white chocolate. I do like dark chocolate. I like chocolate bunnies. This bunny intrigues me now because I thought about chocolate with the bunnies because I like chocolate. I'm fat. Get over it. It's like, holy shit. Perhaps it is Adam Rose. Adam Rose coming back in as a bunny. Perhaps it is. And yeah, Joe was thinking that earlier as well. Right? Maybe it's Ric Flair with white hair.
Oh no.
Like,
just
like
no.
There's so much that this could be. But the fact that we're sitting here talking about it shows that this shit is working.
Viral marketing.
Yep.
And we're doing it all on our own.
Right?
WWE's giving us videos on a
anything.
QR code. They're like, here's a QR code, scan it. Don't scan it. I don't give a shit.
Buy a t-shirt, fall for the trick. It's all good.
And I just love it because there's so many people that are out there on the Twitter box right now. Like, okay, sports trending. I'm on the Twitter machine right now. Let me refresh this here. Twitter machine, refresh for me. Sports trending. White Rabbit. Like, it's still
Every
there
day.
trending.
Yep.
White Rabbit, as of right now, it's showing 2,258 tweets. It's trending.
Can you imagine for all the people
Hashtag
who
White
don't
Rabbit.
watch, all the people who don't watch wrestling, looking and going, "What the hell is this all about?"
Right? Barry Horowitz, I would definitely be okay with that. Barry Horowitz for WWE Hall of Fame, please. If everybody could tweet that out, I would appreciate that because, yes, Barry Horowitz, my good buddy Barry, needs to be in that WWE Hall of Fame. And then Joe is saying it all depends how deep we want to go down the rabbit hole of stupidity, I guess. Yeah, right? Like, I don't know. I don't think that it's really stupidity. I don't think that that's really what we're doing is going down a hole of stupidity because there are a lot of people using their social medias to get all of this over with seemingly next to nothing being given to us from the WWE. Bobby, I do want you and Ed. After Bobby, I want you guys to give us your socials and where the people can find and follow you.
For sure. But you should go and first of all check out Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit song, which is more popular now than it's ever been since its release in 1967. But kudos to them for finally getting a number one out there. It's fantastic. But yeah, as for where you can find me, well, you can find me most places like the socials. I'm the Real Bobby Munson. You'll find me, Real Bobby Munson. Reach out to me, tweet me, check me out. Follow me, all that kind of fun stuff. And, you can find me during the week. A couple shows that I do. Beats and Beatdowns is going to be back here at Turnbuckle Studios. Can't wait for season 2. And, of course, Thursday night. Thursday, yes. Thursday night, of course, myself and Papa Spokes hitting it up with the double feature there, Ring Respect Radio and Fusion, our MLW review show, where next Thursday, we've got it all booked up and solidified. We are going to have Lance Anoa'i joining us finally after having to rebook that one. And then, of course, Sunday, we've got myself and Chris Parrish, who you're going to be able to watch right away, coming up here with Astrid Pizarro. We're going to be joined by Drew Nichols of Fightful on Sunday for episode 3 of Busting Out. So definitely check that out as well, too.
Awesome. Ed, can you divulge?
Here. You can find me here at edfries12584 on Twitter. Let me see if I can find the name, because I don't have it off the top of my head.
That's okay. You take your time as Parrish decides to say that it's Nicholas.
Correction, Bobby.
It's Nicholas.
Nicholas.
I can give you one hint.
I should probably learn that before Sunday, hey?
Right?
Crap. Where did it go? Yes.
It's all good. I'm hitting here with my non-sponsored Dr. Pepper, having a drink. It's all good.
Variant Wrestling Realities.
Ooh.
Coming soon.
Okay.
Sounds unique.
And that's all the teaser you're going to give us?
What if?
For now? If that's fine, that's perfectly fine if it is.
No, that's enough for now.
What if Ed decided to tell us? What if? What if? My name is Karl Karufel. This has been absolutely amazing to have my good friends Bobby Munson and Ed Fries joining me here on this week's episode, as well to each and every one of you that have watched this show, whether you watched it live and interacted with us here as our co-hosts. We thank you. We appreciate you. And to everyone that is going to see this as it is shown afterwards, whether that's on Turnbuckle Studios YouTube page, whether you're going to twitch.tv/Turnbuckle Studios and rewatching it that way, or if you're on Facebook watching it at TB Talk Pod, or even if you just get it in audio format on Podbean and any of those podcatchers out there, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we welcome you back next week as well. Remember, everyone, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.